Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Manny B Investing MBI, and we've got another Paribus blog posting here that we need to cover. March 4th, regulations, the fate of crypto. We've got the future of crypto, regulation crossroads. We've been witness to rapid global change over the past few weeks that have once again put the issue of cryptocurrency regulation back into the spotlight. Most recently, the traumatic conflicts in Ukraine has shown that the use case for cryptocurrency, whilst also raising questions about its ability to bypass sanctions. Although many commenters have pointed out that sanctions are nothing to do with the currency you use, there's growing concern this narrative may be used by governments to hastily impose ad hoc regulations on the space under the guise of enforcing sanctions. Just this week, the chief executive and founder of Binance, Changpeng Zhao, was asked by the BBC about banning Russians from using their platform. Refusing a blanket ban, he explained that whilst they strictly adhere to the sanctions list, we differentiate between the Russian politicians who start wars and the normal people. Many normal Russians do not agree with war. Regulation is a hot topic in the crypto space and one that we support in a sensible, well thought out manner, as Dennis, our CEO, explains. I believe that the regulatory clarity is what's needed for the cryptocurrency space to fully form and be adopted by the masses. Many people are hesitant about crypto in general due to the vague laws around the space. A thoughtful and researched approach should be taken by lawmakers to create a regulatory structure that is fair and equitable. Little blind scales of justice, but I feel like, as a person of color, I think they peak. They peak under that thing. I think they peak. But the way I feel about it is, politics, they're separate. Bullying companies into controlling things is not the way, which is, the whole point of the whole cryptocurrency movement is to stop this nonsense. Regardless of what you believe, this wrong think and right think world that we're kind of building around ourselves is not going to work. It's just not going to work in the end. I just don't see it. In terms of how fiat and crypto stack up in situations like this, Dennis continues. I believe that the horrible situation that is happening in the Ukraine right now will have an impact on the way that citizens and governments think about fiat and their alternatives, cryptocurrencies. The traditional finance system has a number of limitations and restrictions that are unfavorable. While the use of sanctions on Russia in our current fiat system can be effective in the short term, I worry about the longevity of the system that can be so easily manipulated. People will look to solutions that are decentralized and permissionless. We may additionally see extra pressure on cryptos and for regulation to be stepped up to better track and trace crypto users due to the fear of Russia using crypto to bypass sanctions. But at a large scale, I believe that crypto will prove to be as sound in an investment as gold in times of turmoil. Although blockchain technology is said to be censorship resistant, many people mistake this for meaning censorship proof. Given sufficient resources and any system can be censored and controlled, as some will remember from 2014 when the US government infiltrated the Tor network and took down the Silk Road marketplace. In a similar fashion, there's a segment of the crypto space which believes dApps will be exempt from regulation due to their decentralized nature. At Paribus, we prefer to be proactive in seeking to engage with regulation, and as such, we're keeping an eye on what may come down the pipeline in the next few months and years. As Wilson, our COO, explains, we are thinking long-term about the direction regulation could take in various countries around the world. We can see the necessity for laws to be created to protect investors and governments. These laws, if executed well, could allow cryptocurrencies to be more deeply integrated into the lives of everyday participants of the global financial system. Paribus is willing to cooperate and adhere to laws and regulations introduced to protect investors. Simon, our CTO, adds, regulation inside a decentralized space is possible as decentralized systems are not necessarily required to be anonymous. Creating a process has the ability to safely and securely perform Know Your Customer or KYC verification would be necessary. But would be a necessary step to implementing this. This could be achieved by onboarding the usage of digital passports that are linked to wallets, which can be used to identify individuals. And I think they're talking about photochromic. Rather than feared regulation, we're excited by the prospects it could bring to the space, both in terms of mass adoption and innovation. There are many creative and new approaches to this issue surrounding this, such as the work Photochromic, one of our strategic partners, is doing into identity and proof of life verification through utilizing biometric NFTs. That's cool. Looks like she's kind of getting pulled into the metaverse or something. That's pretty neat. Another key aspect of regulation in the space is the onboarding of institutions into the ecosystem. Going beyond simply adding Bitcoin to their balance sheets, we're researching how to provide Web3 solutions tailored to large-scale investors, which is where Paribus Pro will come in. The first official mention of Paribus Pro. They've been saying this on calls, mentioning it in calls, but never have I seen anything written on it before this post here. As Wilson explains, there will be a few key differences with the Paribus Pro platform. First and foremost is the KYC process that will be required for entry to this particular version of Paribus. The platform in general will be tailored to institutions that are interested in participating with borrowing and lending in the blockchain space, but will be open for anyone willing to submit the KYC documentation. Secondly, and by far the most crucial difference, Paribus Pro will run on a privacy-based network. Pro intends to utilize a network that uses ZK proof, so fund development strategies by institutions cannot be tracked and traced easily using a block explorer. There will also be additional features and tools that are yet to be released. Nice. This is it might be bad for a lot of people, but this is perfect. Being able to have a walled off section for institutions whilst their processes, their revenue into the system benefits everyone. I think this is brilliant, honestly. Whilst keeping an eye on the future, we're also working hard in the present to complete the development of the Paribus MVP. We're still very much on track for completion within the next few weeks, thus ensuring it's finished in Q1. However, due to lead times with external audits, there's a growing possibility the mainnet release will be early in Q2, and we've learned that that is the case. As Dennis explains, while we have been aiming for release of our MVP to be as soon as possible, there are still a number of important milestones that need to be completed before we can make this happen. The internal deadlines are still on course for the completion of the MVP in Q1, but the auditing process will likely take us into Q2. The QA, general security audit process, and user experience are fundamental to the success of Paribus. These are things that should be done thoroughly. There will be too much at stake to have any major issue once the MVP is launched, and we are committed to only releasing a product that is, in our opinion, completely airtight. And we did mention that type of sentiment on the development video that we made. If you haven't watched that, go back. It is the development catch-up. We covered 2 development updates in one video, and we definitely mentioned about timing and about making sure the product works 100% before it goes live. You don't want to be fixing things after the fact if you can help it. Simon adds, there is nothing more important than the security of the project, and this is why we will ensure that all processes have been completed before we are ready to reveal the system to our loyal and supportive community. Next week, we take a deeper dive into the MVP ahead of our regular Telegram Town Hall AMA. Epic, epic, epic stuff. I like that photo. That's cool. That's a really cool picture. and definitely called the photo chromic. I talked to some people at Photochromic in a Twitter space. It was like a one-on-one. It was pretty cool. I'm sure they wanted more people to show up, but I think I asked a lot of good questions and gave them some good feedback. But we'll be covering them as well. I think that's a pretty cool project, even though it's extremely early. But yeah, thank you for checking out the channel, checking out this video. Make sure you hit that like, hit that share, and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.